Welcome to the Talk with Clads podcast. Your host is Katie Ann, an island girl on a journey with her guests to learn about their backgrounds, businesses, passions, experiences, life lessons, and wins. Come and laugh, cheer, learn, and plan with us. My friend, take some time to come and talk with Clads.
Hello world, welcome to Talk with Clads. My name is Katie Ann and I will be your host for today. How are you guys? Welcome. And me with the yes, thing. All right. So welcome everyone. We are going to be talking about stay interviews and why it's important for an organization to have a stay interview. Whether you're the employer or the candidate, stay interviews, or the employee, I should say, are beneficial. So I'm going to be making the case for that today, all right? When the person is gone, not before the person comes, well, you can build on attracting an employee. It gives leaders insight on how can you engage? How can I retain my employees? How do I keep my top performers? And so it puts leaders in a solution seat. You know, you have the information from those surveys, regardless of how that survey is distributed, you as a tool. You now have the information and now you can use it to make programs at the organization better. And also it can be used, because employees can give information or informational insight on vendors or customers. And that's also information that you can use. And so that is why we're speaking about stay interviews, because they're so advantageous, but yet we're saying they're dinosaur. Dinosaur? No, they're actually very, very, very helpful. Now, as a business leader or as an employee, entrepreneur, what's your relationship with your colleagues? Or if you're a manager, what's your supervisor-employee relationship, especially when it comes on to engagement and retainment? And when I say engage, how tuned in is your employee? How committed are they to their positions, right? And a lot of times, the reason why people are committed or stay committed to their job opportunities is the relationship that they have with their supervisor or their boss, if you're the owner of a business. If that relationship is one that is toxic, I can guarantee you they are not going to stay. Because, statistics shows that most people stay or leave because of their relationship with their supervisors, or if it's a smaller business, their boss. Engagement itself is very, very, very strongly influenced by leadership qualities. And the employee's level of engagement, it's higher when the supervisor, manager, boss, whatever your title is, has a higher level of engagement as well. So if it's this someone that's not speaking with their, engaging with their employees, you're going to find that the employees are pretty much the same way. I remember working at an organization, which I shall not say where, paid well. And it was one of the strangest things because they had a cafe. And in that cafe, it was fully stocked for free. Like they had I think Keurig had just come out. And you could get coffees, teas, whatever, any treats, anything for breakfast. It was always in there. But I always found it strange that people would just come get their coffee. And, they say sometimes you're at an employer and there's water cooler conversation. Well, there was no water cooler conversation. People would just come in, they would grab the coffee, eyes down, meaning don't talk to me. And then they just go back to their desk. And I found it to be one of the strangest things because I was coming from an employer that was more involved, that had food trucks. I was on the, always interacting with the employees. So to go from that to just everyone looking down, I was like, oh Lord, please save me. I don't know what this is. It pays well, but I don't know if I can hang in there because this is not the type of environment that I want to be in. So those are things, when you talk about engagement, those are things that you should pay attention to because culture, it does, engagement plays a part of company culture. So always when you're interviewing with someone, not me going on a rant right now, but when you're interviewing, just remember the interview goes both ways. You are being interviewed by the employer and you are interviewing the employer because you want to know if it's the right fit for you. What's the company's culture like? Because that's where you're going to spend most of your time. And you want to know that it's not a culture where it's negative and it's going to drain you because, you're not going to stay. Or if you're going to stay, you're going to be stressed and it probably ain't going to be worth it. So when you're interviewing, those are questions you ask, but this podcast is not about interviewing. We can touch base on that another time. It's about stay interviews. So let me kind of reel it back because, I love HR. So when I start talking about HR, I get a little bit passionate. So let's go back to stay interviews.
Clad's Resources and Consulting values its customers. Our planner Footsteps to My Vision is a 13-month planner that can be used for 5 years. It walks you through SMART goals, SWOT analysis, action planning, and holds you accountable through 3 monthly check-ins. We work only with top-quality materials, innovative designs, and verified suppliers, which are guaranteed to deliver to our high expectations because when it comes to our customer satisfaction, there's no room for compromise. Made with high-quality PU leather and paper planner helps you focus on achieving your goals by giving you a sense of personal and professional satisfaction. Some of the amazing features of this product: Vision Board Planner, luxury pen, 8GB USB flash drive, wireless mouse, ultra-elegant packaging box, available in 5 stunning colors: black, red, gold, pink, navy blue. Material: PU leather. 13-month planner. Elastic band for easy handling. Our Footsteps to My Vision is available at Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, our website, and at Walmart. You may also follow us at www.cladsresources.com, Instagram, Clads Resources, Facebook, www.facebook.com/cladsresources/.
You're listening to Talk with Clads. Find more resources online at cladsresources.com. Now back to the show with your host, Katie Ann.
So engaged employees are typically, it's easier to retain those employees. So I read a book where it was saying that a study by the Development Dimensions International. So let me say that again, Development Dimensions International. They found that employees responded very highly to supervisor, that employees who were engaged responded more to supervisors that were also engaged, right? And it says, well, how are you able to tell that? What are the personalities, characteristics that are closely linked to engagement? And this is what they identified. Adaptability. And by adaptability, they mean that employees that are open, that have an openness to new ideas and experiences. Just think about that. Think about that in your business. Think about that in a professional setting if you are someone who is employed. And, you can start identifying someone or employees that are engaged. So they said adaptability, openness to new ideas and experience, and they're willing and openly ready to modify their different, whatever work approaches in response to change. Think of like COVID-19 has impacted us globally, right? Everything has been impacted by COVID. And so some organizations had to change their work model. They had to go remote, right? If they were used to employees coming into the office or traveling between different offices, now you had to manage employees now that were working remote, and sometimes they were even global. So think about that. I think Zoom actually benefited from that because I think Zoom went from $70-something a share to over $400 at one point. So great job, Zoom. But now Zoom has become a part of our language. So adaptability is a sign of someone that is engaged. And also achievement orientation, meaning that they're pushing themselves through a continuous cycle of setting goals, reaching them, and setting progressively more challenging goals. So as a business owner, if you have an employee who, they've done one thing and they say, okay, how can I make this business better? And then they try to achieve that goal. And sometimes it's not even a goal that the employer may have set for themselves, but they are achievement oriented. Also, they have to be attracted to work, maintaining a positive view of the job despite the stress and the frustration of the job. Emotional maturity. They tend to avoid any impulsive actions and any extreme or sustained emotional reactions that would negatively impact work effectiveness and co-worker relations. Listen to that. So it sounds like they're really a team player too, right? And then they always have a positive disposition. So you don't want someone that's too agreeable, because to me, an employee that's always agreeable sometimes is not someone that's engaged. But a positive disposition, they are agreeable with their customers and peers. They're willing to help others achieve their goals too, but they're able to make sound decisions and give constructive feedback when needed. And so the last characteristic that they said is self-efficacy. And that's exhibiting secure, unyielding confidence in the ability to succeed in the job and to advance beyond one's current position. And then that goes back to someone who's achievement orientation, like they are able to push oneself. All right. And so if a supervisor, manager, business owner is able to develop those characteristics within their employee, like they're providing feedback. And when I say feedback, because I hate, being in HR, this is one of the things I see, and hate is probably a strong word, where you're sitting with an employee and you never give them feedback throughout the year. And then, you may even tell them that they're doing a good job. And then in the performance eval, that's when you're going to list a million things that they did wrong. Listen, that is a practice of what not to do as a leader. X, wrong bang. If you're Jamaican, you understand that one. Wrong bang, wrong works, wrong bang. You're supposed to give feedback to the employee throughout the year. Give them, coach them. You can sit with them one-on-one and not only negative feedback, and I don't say negative, you should give constructive feedback. You did this wrong. No, that's not a good way to coach an employee. You can say, this is an area where you can develop a little bit more. This is what I observe, but maybe you could practice or do something else, whatever your solution is, and see what the employee says. All right. And so giving them feedback, coaching opportunities, developing like those positive one-on-ones. And that's important with a relationship between employer, employee, to have that positive one-on-one relationship and not just trying to fix the program. Oh, we're going to do a recognition program. Well, recognition because I'm walking through the door, or you should have recognized that I was doing well and give me feedback or provide coaching opportunities so I can develop as a professional. So these are things that we need to look at as managers or employers in general to help develop our employees. And that is going to be a part of the stay interview because those things will also come up, It's the good thing about the survey. As I said, it's a great way. It doesn't matter how you collect it, how you do, use a Likert scale survey or whatever, but utilize it to your advantage. Supervisors do have an influence on retention. Research has shown that a poor supervisor, it shows that percentage-wise, about 60% of the employees left because the relationship with the supervisor were not great. And so you're being able to utilize that stay interview where you can solicit feedback from the employee regarding their work environment, any types of customer interaction, any types of customer feedback. It's a great tool. It's really a great tool to use. What makes a good stay interview, right? Because stay interviews build trust between employee-employer, right? A supervisor who asks questions, practices active listening, and they act and communicate honestly, that strengthens the trust with their employees. And that's a very important supervisory skill for increasing engagement and retention. So what are the major features of a stay interview, right? What are some things, what are the ingredients? Like, what's cooking in a stay interview? Because from an employee's perspective, with the stay interview, they're hearing that, okay, my employer cares about me. My employer wants to know what I need to stay and grow with the company. And then on the supervisor's part, it's saying, okay, you have to, hey, you're a part of this. This is you. Retention and engagement is a part of your responsibility. And the employees, sometimes they'll accept the responsibility of what? Staying. So let's look at the ingredients of what makes a positive or a good stay interview. Because positive, let's say a good stay interview. Let me not get extra with it. So it's always good to have your stakeholders be bought into the process. When senior leaders conduct a stay interview, that's always a good sign that the company cares. If the stakeholders are not involved, then believe it or not, the employees can see that. So one of the core features is that it cascades. So from top to leaders, to the director, to the employees, in terms of the steps in the interview. It's always good, if possible, to conduct the interviews in person. And when you're having that conversation with a leader, you feel a little bit important, right? You're like, oh, they know who I am? Then they should set expectations. Leaders should be able to emphasize that the focus will be on things that can influence or control the company. They listen to all concerns, but they have to be honest. They have to make a schedule. You just don't pop up or, and take the employee from work. It has to be something that's scheduled. And the feedback has to be separated from the employee's performance, because the employee shouldn't feel like it's a performance improvement conversation, but it should focus on what improvements that as an employer I can put in place, or as a business owner, that can raise my employees' level of engagement and retention. Tip: don't send the questions to the employees or the participant in advance, because you want it to be an honest conversation. And having like a scripted opening, that may not work, because people can sense if someone is being genuine. Are you genuinely interested in hearing my feedback as an employee, or is this bull, right? So you want to not send questions in advance, but schedule with the employee and say, hey, this is, I just want to hear your feedback. This is your check mark on me. What do I do well? How can I improve as an organization? How can I improve as a business? What would you do different if you were in my shoes? Now, I may not be able to do everything that you suggest, but I am listening to what you say, and I may be able to implement some of the things that you say. So very, very important to be honest and transparent in your process. Then, who's your target audience, right? Well, because you have to prepare. You're not just going to just go and do an interview and not be prepared, because then that comes across also as a waste of time and disrespectful to the employee, because you're wasting their time. You didn't take the time to prepare? No, prepare. Can I say that again? Prepare. So just make sure that whatever the group is that you're targeting, you may segment the different types of employees. When I say type, I don't mean demographics or meaning race, religion, any type of those things that can be seen as discrimination. But, you may want to do one department before the other one. So you have to figure out like what the target audience is, and then you prepare. Do you want to do your high performance first, or who you identify as a high performer? That could be a way, but you should not only do stay interviews with people that you have identified as high performance. And high performance, that's going to be based on your organization's or business metrics. And no scripted response. You may prepare in terms of, what some of the things are going to come up with, and you have a general idea of what you want to say. But if you're reading from a paper, I don't know if that's going to go over positively with your employees. You should have some type of solution as a leader on how to respond to complex issues and address it. So someone may bring up career pathing. Hey, I'm at the organization, but there are no growth opportunities for me. And so, I don't know, while I love the organization, I don't know if I would stay because, the next person in the role is not going to leave until death, right? I just exaggerated, please. But sometimes that's the feedback, that I get sometimes when I'm speaking to someone who's looking for a different career opportunity. Love my organization, but you know what? The job not going to be open until this person retires, and person is pretty young. So I'm going to look elsewhere. And so, if you know that that's an issue with your organization, right? And that's where you're tapped in to know what's going on, then you may want to come up with a career ladder or training opportunities or professional growth opportunities, if it be cross training, any types of certification, but have some types of solution, and that comes with preparation as to before you have that interview, have some solutions in place, and then, follow up with the employees, follow up with whatever things you've said that you've promised as an employer. Don't just make a promise and then don't do it. And, I've read where it says that it should be done annually. I guess it just depends on the size of your department and the size of your organization. Some people do it twice a year. That's just going to be business specific, right? Definitely business specific as to what will work for yourself and for your organization.
CLADS Resources and Consulting values its customers. Our planner Footsteps to My Vision is a 13-month planner that can be used for 5 years. It walks you through SMART goals, SWOT analysis, action planning, and holds you accountable through 3 monthly check-ins. We work only with top quality materials, innovative designs, and verified suppliers, which are guaranteed to deliver to our high expectations, because when it comes to our customer satisfaction, there's no room for compromise. Made with high-quality PU leather and paper planner helps you focus on achieving your goals by giving you a sense of personal and professional satisfaction. Some of the amazing features of this product: Vision Board Planner, luxury pen, 8GB USB flash drive, wireless mouse, ultra-elegant packaging box, available in 5 stunning colors: black, red, gold, pink, navy blue. Material: PU leather. 13-month planner. Elastic band for easy handling. Our Footsteps to My Vision is available at Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, our website, and at Walmart. You may also follow us at www.cladsresources.com, Instagram, CLADS Resources, Facebook, www.facebook.com/CLADS Resources/.
You're listening to Talk with CLADS. Find more resources online at cladsresources.com. Now back to the show with your host, Katie Ann.
The attitude of a leader should not be, hey, didn't we just do this a while back? I don't believe in this. If they want to leave, they're going to leave, or this is a time wasted. So it's important that they practice stay interview skills, which is note-taking, listening, being able to dive in or delve in for more information. Develop effective stay plans. Now, it's probably not just going to be one person that's going to do a stay plan. It may be a team, and take in some responsibilities for the company's policies, even if you don't agree with it. Because if you're able to say to the employee, I know this is our policy, and at sometimes I may struggle with that, but at the end of the day, it's the organization's policy, then the employer the employee, I should say, will see that you are being genuine. Now, as a leader, you might be like, I don't know if I'm good. I'm ready to do a stay interview. Why not practice role play with someone before you do it with the employee? Everyone is human. Everyone has their insecurities. If you feel a little bit uncomfortable as a business owner, as an employer, do some role playing. Do some role playing at home and see how it goes, or with a colleague that you trust. That will keep that information confidential before it comes out, before you actually do it. Give you some tips on how to do it better. And then, you can say, hey, what did you like? How can I do this differently? What are the verbal parts that you liked and like? What's my nonverbal body cues like? What's my body language? And they can give you honest feedback if you are not very comfortable doing a stay interview to start. All right. So what are some questions that you can ask in a stay interview? Now, remember, I am not the guru of all things stay interview. I am, as I said, I do believe in stay interviews, and I read this awesome book about stay interviews, and I want to share my knowledge with you because we're growing together as a family. So just sprinkling a little HR in this podcast too. Clads Resources and Consulting is an HR consulting firm. Thank you very much. So here, you're going to get some HR knowledge now and again. All right. So what are some questions that you can ask as a part of a stay interview? So I'd say one of the first questions is very, very, very simple, right? And it's, why do you come to work? Now you can make it a little bit more, I guess, informal, because mine may sound a little bit too informal. But you can say, why do you come to work every day? I bet you get a genuine answer, right? Some people say, well, I need to pay my bills, which is a genuine answer. Another one is like, what do you look forward to each day when you commute to work or on your way to work? If someone says, listen, in my car, I pray before I step into work. Well, I will tell you that you have some issues, right, that you may need to address because they may not stay. Why do you stay here? What is it about this position that makes you stay? You may get the bill answer again. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky one because, I would say give a disclaimer and say, hey, this is for the organization to grow and nothing that you say is going to be held against you in a court of law or your job. All right. Just throwing a little joke there. But and this is one of the questions I would say, hopefully you can be transparent and say, hey, we are trying to improve our programs here and to build employee engagement and retention, and the information that you share will help us to do so. So this question is, when was the last time that you thought about leaving us as an employer? And what was the reason that made you thought of leaving us? No. Everyone, when they have a 9-to-5, business owners, you may not want to hear this. Cock your ears. Everyone thinks about leaving at some point, right? So it's very direct in asking that it's a question that brings a much needed conversation into light, because some things are simply fixable, right? And in your program that you're putting together, then you could address whatever the information is that is shared. Tell me more about what happened. Sometimes it's internal interconflict within the workplace that, some coaching can take care of. And, and you can say, what can I do better to make this a better environment for me? And people love to give feedback. They love to give feedback. So that, you're soliciting information. So, be prepared that you may get an answer that you're like, but prepare. And that's the part of preparation, right? What can I do to make this job better for you? Some people may say monetary. If you can't, you can't. Everyone has to adhere to a budget. Now, one of the things that I've seen in the candidate employer market that, typically before you used to have to go to an employer and some people do panel interviews. They'll have you waiting. You go in, you have to sell yourself to them. And that's why I say when you're interviewing, it's a two-way street. You're interviewing the employer as much as the employer is interviewing you. And so, typically employers, they have a lot of candidates in the past, right, vying for the one position. And that was called an employer's market. Now, with COVID-19, COVID-19 has done a shift on a global scale where people are like, I don't know if I want to be in a 9-to-5 anymore. Or if I am in a 9-to-5, I want to be in something that provides work-life balance. I don't want to work as hard as my parents. And I want you guys to go back and listen to the podcast, The Student and the Entrepreneur, because we had a Harvard grad that she expressed what I just said. She didn't want to be a business owner. Her mom is a business owner. And she respected her mom's hustle, but she just doesn't want the same life. And I can tell you, probably if you speak to my daughter, she probably shares the same mindset where they're looking for work-life balance and not so much, oh, I'm going to stay for one company for 20 years and see if I can retire with this organization. They're looking for, okay, let's see what this organization have. My daughter, hers is, oh, I want to work for 6 months and then travel. Some jobs offer that, if she can find it, great for her. But, it's flipped from an employer's market to a candidate's market. There's a shortage, and especially if you're in certain fields. I've seen the nursing industry has boomed. If you are a nurse, kudos to you. It's one job I couldn't do, but I know that right now the nurses are kicking butt, right? There's so many opportunities out there. There's so many opportunities out there for a nurse. And so, great profession if you're in that industry to do some stay interviews with your nurses to see why they're staying. Because as I said earlier, COVID has caused a shift where you now have the demand, depending on the industry, because that sounds like a very generalized statement. So let me just bring it back a little bit. Depending on the industry, but based on what I've been seeing, which it seems now that there has been a shift from an employer's market to a candidate's market. Candidates are more demanding of what their expectations are within a position. And you know what? They will ghost you in a second, whether it be a high level position or a low level position. They just don't show up. It's called ghosting. And so if you don't understand what the term is for ghosting, sometimes you hear it when you're dating someone, you say, oh, that person ghosted me. It says, I had to do Google because I wanted to say, so it says the practice of ending. No, it's not that type of ghosting. But ghosting means that they just don't show up. They're a ghost. They're see-through. There's nothing there. So going back to the stay interview, you may get the feedback when you say, okay, what can I do for you to make this position a little bit better? And the person may go back and say, well, I could take a nice hike in salary. The salary that you offer right here is pretty low. As a small business, you may have to, most times it's not doable. As an organization, most times it's not doable. You know why? Because organizations go by budgets. And so if you know that that may be an issue, right? No, and your budget can't do it. Your budget can't provide the monies that others are looking for, then you have to prepare and have an answer ready as to why the organization is unable to raise any salaries at this time, and if it's something that they can address in the near future or in the foreseeable future. And this is where honesty comes in, because people know when you are BSing, right? And the stay interview, you're trying to retain and engage. And so with retain and engage, you have to be transparent and honest in your process and what the outcome of the process may include. And if you can't do the finance, you just can't do the finance. And one of the things that you have to realize when you're doing your stay interviews is we also have to look at the different generations. I am from an island where I grew up, where people were staying in jobs for 20 to 30 years. And then I migrated to the US. I've been here now forever, half of my life, where people average 2 to 3 years. So, but for me, it was people who were, the generation before me, they believed in staying in their jobs until retirement. My generation, maybe we kind of sought to believe that, but not really. We kind of tested out sometime. But then you have different generations. And I'm not talking about ageism, because it's not about discrimination, but you also have to be aware of the generations within your workforce, right? And so you hear a lot about millennials, and they have a different mindset. Go back to the podcast, The Student and the Entrepreneur. And when you listen to the guest Toyin, she's a millennial, and she discussed what her expectations are in a job. She's amazing job, by the way, guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So shout out to Tony, and who's doing great and big things. But a lot of times what you see is that they're not so much focused on what the paycheck is. They're looking for purpose, right? And so that's also a lot of times where you see them leaving the workforce to start their own businesses because they want to know what their purpose is in life. And they're looking for not only job satisfaction, but they're looking for development. And with development, you don't have bosses, you have coaches. You don't have someone who's a boss, you have someone who coaches you into development. So that's one of the things that you have to look at. And as I said earlier, I'm not a millennial, but I can tell you the annual reviews where you're just talking to me for one time, that's not very positive for me. I've experienced it, and I was very honest in my feedback to someone who I met like maybe 3 months, and then she wanted to do an annual review. I'm like, wait, what? I'm gonna send this review back here, and then I'm gonna need you to be prepared, and then we can do it again. Rewind. True story. But you want that ongoing conversation and not just, oh, you know what? 6 months ago, this is what you did wrong. Where you can go, okay, in that moment, it's a great opportunity for training and coaching me. I love feedback. Now, do I listen to all of them? Probably not. But my thing is thank you for the feedback, right? And so you're not there to fix someone's weakness, but you're there to develop their strengths. So that's something that you have to, how can I develop this employee's strength based on the information that's provided in the state interview? And some people need to see the job as a part of their life. I know we want to, with the millennials now, there's no separation, and then you have Gen X, Gen Z, or maybe the last one too young, but they want that work-life balance, but they also need to see the job as a part of their purpose. And as I said, that's why have a lot of entrepreneurs out there that I see people doing the candles. They're doing their own candles. There are influencers out there, social media influencers. Who knew that you could be an influencer 10 years ago, right? The path was that you'd be on TV or something. You had to have some type of popularity before you became an influencer. And you know what? That has been turned on its head because people think outside of the box. Like my little son, hear me going on a rant for a little bit. He is 4 and he'll watch those YouTube videos, which I find extremely like, what is this? With people opening toys, playing toys. And these are grown people, by the way, that are doing these toys. But he's so enamored by it. And I'm sure, you know what? He's not the only one. But that person has been able to tap into a niche that works for them. So when you say purpose, they care about purpose. So make sure that when you're doing your stay interview, you're looking at the different generations and addressing like what will work for them. What works for a millennial may not work for another generation. All right? And again, we have to look at that we're not trying to do any discriminatory practices that's going to put you into any legal issues. So when you're constructing your stay interview, make sure it's best to have your compliance team. And if you're a small business, if you need to see a small business attorney, there are different websites that you can go on to get the information. As I said, you can also, from employees, if you are in a sales-driven, anything that's customer-based, because really and truly every business has customers at some point. You can build customer service questions because the employees are the ones that are interacting with these customers. So you can build those customer service questions that can be addressed in the stay interview. So have I made my case for a stay interview? Are you still thinking about it? Well, I find stay interviews as an employee, as someone that has their own business, as someone that may have represented a business, an organization as the employer. I find them very useful. I find them extremely useful. So great let me know. DM me and let me know what your thoughts are. Send me an email. Let me know your thoughts. And we can have a very constructive conversation about the topic. Well, guys, it's become that time. It's become that time. I think I went on and on and on and on, but hopefully you learned something from Stay Interviews, a great book that I actually got, and this is a free plug. It's actually a Sherm bestseller. So it's Society of Human Resources Managers. It's The Power of Stay Interviews for Engagement and Retention by Richard Finnegan. And I was actually referencing some of the information when I was speaking to you because I actually find this very, very useful. I tell you, I read a lot of texts. No, I haven't read a fun book or listened to an audiobook, but I need to do that in the future. Still working on my book, The Reasons Why Americans Choose War, or Reasons to Kill Why Americans Choose War. It's trying to figure out the topic just the same, or the heading. And I'll touch base with you and see what my feedback is. And if you have the book and want to give me some tips, because at the end of that, I have to do a book report. Yes, I said I'm still in school. You can let me know. But thank you, everyone, for taking some time to sit and chat with your girl, whether you're at work or you're at the gym working out, or you're working on your New Year's goal. Hopefully you're looking at your vision board over and over and over. Remember, it needs to be in a high traffic area. We're still in the first part of the year. It's never too late to start the vision board. Hear me keep saying that. It's never too late for you to start your vision board. And then, using your planners, Footsteps to My Vision. They're actually on sale at Amazon. They're on sale at Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, Instagram, Facebook. They're all over. So grab your book. Your vision, the vision board is where you put it in a high traffic area. When I say high traffic, just you, because my vision board is in my closet. It's not high traffic, but besides me. So put it in an area that you can see it. You remember it. It's about making the invisible visible. It works. It's manifestation. You also have to do the work, and that's the purpose of the planner. It kind of walks you through the process of doing the work. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for taking some time to sit, chat, listen. Remember to like this podcast, share it with your friends, subscribe on YouTube. I'm going to start doing videos. I haven't gotten there as yet. I know I have all of my guests asking, hey, are we going to do videos? And I'm like, oh, let's see. Let's see where this goes. Because I like right now, the video is not distracting. You all know what I look like. I look like what I look like on my Insta, and I post all the time. But let's see. I'm not ruling it out. Maybe it's a goal that I'll tackle in the year ahead. But thank you, everyone, for taking some time to talk with Clads. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Clads Resources and online at www.cladsresources.com. Our planner, Footsteps to My Vision, is also located on our website or on Facebook, Instagram, or Amazon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, keep creating your footpath to your vision.